Hi everyone. Let's go through a complete step-by-step tutorial. I have selected Sarawak Museum, and we will start from system request, then functional and non-functional requirements. Then we will go through possible use cases, and after that we will bring the same use cases to DFD and the different levels of DFD, and finally the same DFD we will convert to ERD. Okay, so in this way it's like a complete uh, one system analysis and design from zero to the end. Okay, so let's go step by step. So I selected Sarawak Museum mobile app. So if we want to design a mobile app for Sarawak Museum and we want to propose this, so the system request will be like this, that I am the sponsor, meaning to sponsor means who is proposing the app. So in your case, you will be the sponsors. The sponsor may be one person or many persons. Okay, the business need, why the organization need this application. You will try to highlight that point. I have just write some sentences. It may be uh, modified, maybe, meaning to say we can add more if you want. Like, the initiative of this project is to engage the new and existing visitor of Kate Museum. Okay, and due to this app, the sales of souvenir, uh, this sales of souvenir will improve. Okay, and it will also improve the user experience, improve the user's experience at the museum. And this app will also increase the visibility of Sarawak Museum and will promote Sarawak culture. So shortly, like that. You can explain in your own wordings, in your own style, and you can modify this one according to your project. Okay, so the business requirements to achieve these objective that we have described, uh, this application should provide this. I think you just read it. It is quite clear, right? Should not be a problem. I am going a bit faster at this stage because you are almost clear about this. Okay, and it's, if not clear, you can just read it. Okay, so the business value means, uh, as I told you from very beginning, that there are two points. Sometimes most of the time we are using the word business, but sometimes actually some organizations are not business oriented. That at that time this may be organization value. Okay, like business value and organizational value. Some organizations are not uh, business oriented. They just want to provide best services, okay, to the nation. So the best services are actually their values. So at that time, if such organization, that it may not be like in money format. So but in this case we are just using the general format. This is why we put the money, that it will increase this much and this much and this much. Okay, and special issues are those issues that you want, that must be included due to the cultural problem, or due to the location problem, or due to political issue, or due to whatever. For example, we need to bring this system to the market as soon as possible, meaning to say we need urgently. So this is why this is one special constraint or special issue. The other one, the visitor personal data must be secured and never ever shared with third party. So this will be the second point, must be make sure that the data is safe. Otherwise, if it is not saved, then the visitors will never share their information, because during the registration time we are getting their data, so this data must be secure. Okay, to introduce and and transfer the culture of Sarawak to the new generation. You know, the new generation is not mostly is mostly towards like a games, a 3D, blah blah. So more toward digital stuff. So we want to introduce the cultural value in a digital format, and the app should be and this is why the app should be in dual languages, meaning to say it must be in Malay and English, and the mobile application project need to be ready by this date. So if let's suppose you have this type of constraint, then the developers and the team of system analysis and design team and the developer team will try to follow the deadlines. Okay. Uh, next step is the functional requirements. So what this application will do. So all the functional requirements I have tried to add it. So it can be modified. It can be modified according to your specific situation also. So I am quickly skipping. I'm not reading this. I'm just telling you one thing, that functional requirement, most of you are I don't know why it was not clear, that functional requirements are those requirements uh, which the application will function, the application will have functionality that uh, meaning to say that functionality will must be present in the application when we are designing, and that functionality may be in the form of menu, or maybe to click some buttons, whatever is the design user interface, but this functionality should be there. Okay, the one thing, the non-functional requirements are such a requirements that it is actually not functionality. It's not functionality. Like for example, the color, the font should have a professional look. So you see, the color and font does by itself is not a functional thing, but it adds its value to the project. Okay, like color and fonts, and then like the background color and so on. In this way, if you think some other things which which are not functional but must be included in the project, that was those requirements you can put in a non-functional requirement. Okay, now you see, look at the scenario. The scenario is like this, that there is a cat museum. Let's suppose this is the cat museum. I will just type CM, the cat museum. Visitors are coming. Okay, visitors are coming to this cat museum, and they want to see and get the details. So at the beginning, what will happen? The user will download the app, and then to use the app, they will have to register and then log in. And once log in and enter to the cat museum, they can go through many artifacts and scan. And once they scan it, they can get the information. Or maybe once they log into the system, then after login, the interface will change, and maybe the interface is in the form of a gallery type, like all the artifacts are displayed here. So the whole gallery is here now. This is one possibility. Another possibility, that maybe once you enter, then you can use the camera and maybe like AR VR style. Okay, like AR style, you are scanning the artifacts and then you are getting the information. So depends on the design, what type of design you are doing. So if you are doing non-AR, then you will have to bring all the artifacts as a, as part of the interface, that like this. Let's suppose if the user click on this artifact, then the user will get another screen, and here will be a detailed information about this artifact. This detailed information may be another image, or it may be a video, or it may be a 3D model. So the information will be provided in different format. So how it works? User enter login, click and any artifact, get details. The detail may be in any format: text, image, audio, video, 3D model, anyone can. This is one design, and another design, the AR VR style. So we will not talking about AR VR style here, because I want to focus like this. Most of your design and your strategies are like this, so I will go through the first one. Okay, so this is why you see these are the common use cases, like login, okay, then requesting for information. Oh, another point, during this uh, visit, the user can buy souvenirs also. So you see, exploring artifacts, the main objective is exploring artifact. Second objective is to buy some souvenir. Okay, so the first use case diagram, use case is like this, that I selected user registration, meaning to say, when any user download the app, the first activity is registration. Okay, so who will actor means who will activate this registration process. So the user will activate the registration process. The person who download is a user of the app, and the user of the app will start this activity. Actor means who will start the activity. So the user will start. Okay, what's the purpose of this? I tried to be very concise. Short text, you can add more if you want. So what I did in this process, the new user will register him or herself. Just simple registration. So the trigger, the user will activate the registration process, and it is external. External means that the user is outside the software. Note the point, don't be confused in this one also. Let's suppose this is the mobile, the software is inside the mobile, like this. Let's suppose the icon, if the user double tap it, the the app activated, but the user by itself is outside the app. Okay, the outside, external and internal, means that it is possible that one application activate another application. If this is the scenario, then it will be internal. If I'm repeating again, if one application activate another application, at that time it will be internal. But if the application is activated by a user outside the application, so the user is physically outside the application, so this is why we are using external. Okay, so the type is external, and then precondition is what? The user should have only internet. Okay, maybe if you want to add another one, you can add that the user should have downloaded the app. Yeah, he or she should have internet, and he or she should have already downloaded the app. Then can start the registration process. Okay, normal course is that one that if everything go well, no problem, then how will be the process of registration? If everything is okay, you see the user will key in all the details like first name, last name, email address, username and password. Okay, after that the user will click the register button and then everything goes well and the registration completes successfully. So this is the normal course, meaning to say no problem. Okay, and once this everything goes well, then what will be the post condition? The post condition will be that after the registration, completion of the registration, successful registration, the user can log in now. Okay, when registration complete, you can log in now. If you can add more, also if you want, like for example, the user will get thank you for registration or thank you for using our app or most welcome, something like that you can type if you want. Okay, exceptions means errors. Okay, errors. Okay, that what are the possible errors during this registration process? So one of the possible error that the user may select a password less than 6 character if the 6 character is a restriction in the app. So one possibility. You see, if there are other policy about password, different organization have different policy. Okay, you can see the different banking apps. Some banking app accept special characters, some don't accept. So depends on the policy of organization. So if if the user uh, could not follow the organization policy while selecting the password, that will be the possible error. Another possible error that the internet may stop working while registration. So you key in all the information, you press the register button, but at that time maybe the signals are weak or maybe due to any reason the internet is not working. This is one possibility. So these are all the possible errors. So you can put as many as you can, as many as you know. Okay, so I just put these two and after that I put etc. means many others are also possible. Second use case, the second use case is after registration is a natural process that the user will log in. So the login is second one. Okay, I put the priority as a medium. I don't think so that it need high priority. Okay, you can put medium and you can put low. Okay, again the actor is user. The description is what? The user simply use the functionality of login to log into the system. You can add more text if you want. The the user, and it is again external. Preconditions are what? The user must be registered already, then he or she can log in, and the user must have internet, then can log in. Okay, without these two condition cannot. If you think that there must be something, some other conditions also, you can add. So normal course, again the user key in correct username and password, and then the user has internet connection and the user successfully log in, so everything goes well, no problem. So if everything goes well, then what will be the post condition? The user will have access to the museum system because the user already logged in now. So the user can enjoy the information and the artifacts now. The user can explore now. So the exploration way, is dependent on the interface that you design, whatever interface you are providing to the user. Okay, exceptions are these possible exceptions. The user may type a wrong password, then the user will get a proper message, or the user may type a wrong username, or the forget password, or forget username, or forget both of them. Okay, then you see why we are mentioning these possible errors, because that if this one happen, then there should be a mechanism to guide the user to get corrected, to guide the user how to use the app. Meaning to say, the system should be able to tell that your password is wrong or your username is wrong, suitable message, and then the user will understand and will change accordingly. Okay, or there may be like a resetting password option also. Okay, and there is maybe possibility again that the user may lose internet connection. Okay, next one, if the user successfully registers, successfully log in, so uh, you see you can add here the purchasing a ticket and blah blah according to your analysis. I did like this, that okay, after login the user will enter the museum and into the gallery. They can access now, they can get information about the artifacts. So this is why I put the description like this, that the user will be moving around the museum and exploring the artifacts. The information may be in many different formats. The information may display in the form of text. The information may display in the form of more detailed images, or the information may display in the form of audio or video or 3D models. All these are the possible ways to provide further information, and this will ultimately uh, create the user experience. Okay, trigger and type are again user and external preconditions. For this, to see the artifacts, the user must be logged in already. And for login, if you go to the previous one, for login, the precondition is registration. So this is why no need to write registration here. Okay, because for login, registration is a precondition. And the user must have internet connection because the information will come from a database. Okay, this one just like the user should have enough battery also. Otherwise, if no battery, maybe the system can interrupt. Normal course, that if the user can see the gallery, okay, the artifacts, so the user will click or tab the any artifact that want to have more information about that, and then the information will be displayed. Okay, post condition, in everything goes well, then the user will get the information about that about that particular artifact in the form of text, video, or 3D model, or image, or audio. Anyone is possible. Exception, what are the possible errors? It is possible that when the user click a particular artifact, and then the click may not work. Okay, it maybe it due to the broken link, maybe the code the developer forgot. So whatever, it is a common mistake, a common error, that you click something and is not working. And then the another possibility that you click some image of the artifact and you want to get further detail, but the database may not have information about that particular artifact. So these are the two possible errors. If you think that there are other possibilities also, you can mention. Third one is purchasing a souvenir. Okay, actor will be user. The user will purchase or buy some souvenir. It may be one, it may be more. Again, user and external precondition. You can only buy souvenir if you are logged in to the system, and the user must have internet connection because you will have to pay. The user must have enough battery, and the user must have online or cash payment capability. It is also possible that the user buy the souvenir at the counter. This is why I put cash. Okay, and if the user want to buy online, then the user will get a receipt, and at the counter the user can show the receipt, the digital receipt, and then will receive the souvenir at the counter. So normal cost, if everything goes well, the quantity that how many the user want to buy, it is available, and the user can pay online, and the system will provide online payment facility if the user want to pay online. So if all these thing goes, then the purchase will be successful. Post condition, the user will get a receipt after this process, and the user will get the souvenir at the counter by showing the receipt. What are the possible errors during this process? The payment transaction may not successful, meaning to say the user want to pay online, but maybe due to some reason the transaction cannot fulfill. Sometimes the banking facilities are off, or maybe under maintenance, or maybe due to any reason. If the user cannot pay online, then cannot purchase the souvenir. Okay, this is one of the possibility, and the system may not generate the receipt. So maybe there is some problem, and the user paid already, but the receipt cannot generate. So if you don't have the receipt, you cannot receive the souvenir. So meaning to say, you see, you should be careful about these type of errors. Why we are mentioning these errors here? Because we are highlighting here to the developer that when you are developing this process, please be careful to this type of errors. Okay, so the user already log in, the user already explore the museum and purchase some souvenirs if want. Another option is that if the user want to give some feedback, okay, like a rating, like a comments, something, sometimes the user want to do it. So that use case, the actor is user, the user want to give some feedback about the tour, user and external, and precondition, the user must be logged in already, the user must have internet connection, and the user must have enough battery, and the user have visited the museum already. After visiting, you can give the comments. So normal course, if everything go well, okay, so the user will successfully type the feedback, and the user will post the feedback. Post condition, the user can see the feedback. Once the user post, then can see, and if the user want to edit, can edit, and if the user want to delete after posting, should be able to delete his or her own feedback only. What are the possible errors during this process? That the feedback may not be posted, and the user may not edit or delete uh, his or her own feedback. These are the possible errors. The last one, when everything goes well on until all these points, so the user just want to log out now. So the user will log out, Okay, after you can only log out if you are logged in, the precondition. You say you can log out if you have internet connection. Even if the internet connection lost also, you will be automatically log out. Okay, and the battery to complete the process. Normal course, the user successfully log out. Just click the log out button and everything goes well and log out. Okay. Um, the user cannot, why I put this one? The user successfully log out. I think this one no need. Yeah. Post condition, the user is log out of the system now and the user cannot see any artifact, because if you log out you cannot see now. Okay, you cannot access the rest of app because you are log out. And exceptions, that the app stuck during the log out process, sometime it may be possible. Otherwise, I think there is no possibility of many errors here because it is a simple process. Okay. Okay, let's continue. So we will bring all the use cases that we have discussed until now. We will bring the same idea to the DFD and to the ERD. So the first diagram in DFD is a context diagram. And don't be confused, in a context diagram, we are describing the whole system very generally. So if you just think the museum system is what? The museum system have artifacts, okay, and the users are coming to visit the artifact and get more information. That's all. Or maybe buy some souvenir. So these are the major functionality. Okay, you can add the ticket, purchasing tickets and blah blah, but in this analysis that I have done is like simply user come and explore the artifacts and maybe buy some souvenir. That's all. So this is why I make it so simple like this, that you see here the user uh, send data. I put the data means that you see it is not clear at this moment that this data means what, but some information comes from the user side. These data may have its username and login passwords, or username and password details when the user want to use the system. But I didn't explain at this moment because later on I will explain in the level 0, level 1 and level 2. Okay, so this data is going from user side to the system. You see I put the whole system. Okay, the whole system, not a single process. Okay, and this system may get some data from maybe from some online databases or internet. So this is why the system sending some data to the database, maybe like a search query, and on the basis of that query the system get the related information and that information display to the user. So this is a general uh, description that we want to show through the context diagram. Okay, so the Lee is asking about that, can we put the museum admin to the right of the context diagram instead of data store? I think you can, but you know the context diagram is very general. Here the word user actually can represent a visitor also, and the same user can represent admin also. and you see the admin will also send some information and data, and they will get some information. So meaning to say there will be some interaction between the admin staff and the system, and the system may have interaction with the database. So I think better to express database as compared to uh, to separate the user. So I prefer this way, that I put the user as a general word. This user may be the visitor, the new user. This may be an admin staff. Okay, let's continue from levels context diagram to level 0. Okay, so level 0 diagram, what I did, you see the whole system, this Sarawak museum system. Now I decompose this into the functionalities that I have described in the use cases. So you can link these processes. Here the 1 2 3 represent a process, and you can actually link back these processes with the use case diagram. Okay, so the first process I put as a login. You see, I didn't put as a registration. Okay, I put as a login. The registration and the logout is hidden in this process, and I will explain at level 1. This is level 0. Okay, so in this login, you see from the user is goes again data, and it gets again the information. So from balancing point of view, context diagram and level 0, you see you will have the same number of data, the same number of entity. You see user and this. Okay, so one functionality, number one. Number two, show artifacts information. So the user clicks something, you see, once the user log in, and then the user will click something to to see the detail of some artifact, and then the user will get the information about that artifact. How it will get it need further explanation, we will explain. But in the meanwhile, this process may need some information from the database, because maybe the information comes from a database and then show to the user. Next one is third process, that you see this is the exploration process. During this exploration, the user can explore the whole Kate museum, many different artifacts. Okay, and next step is the purchasing a souvenir. So purchase a souvenir, the user will click purchase button of some souvenir. Okay, and then uh, during this process of purchase, you see, I didn't mention the payment process, because why? It is level 1. In a level 2, I will explain this further. Okay, during this process it may get some information from another data store. Okay, and once this process completed, the user will get a receipt. So how this process will complete, will reach until the receipt, you see it need further detail. So the further detail, I will break down this process in next level to explain how this purchase process will happen actually. Okay, and the last one is a feedback. Okay, the user type a text, okay, in the process. Okay, and then click post or save, and then the user input will be saved in some table permanently, and after that the user will get some thank you message. So you see, this is the level 1, level 0 diagram, level 0 diagram. Okay, this is a level 0 diagram. Lee, in the we didn't provide the logout and registration here in the login process, because why? That in level 0 we are providing a bit more detailed version of the system than the context diagram. In context diagram is too general. Then here we are giving a bit more detailed one, but not that much detail that we are explaining every process in too much detail. Okay. Okay, this is also a good question. Zainon is asking that the input and output should have the same name. Actually, uh, for balancing purpose, if someone want to trace back that where is the data in level 0 and level context diagram, then the best way to give the same name. Then the same name can easily trace back to for balancing process. And balancing means that if any data present in here in the context diagram or any entity, it may be user, it may be data store. So here one user, one data store, and three data and one information. These are available in context diagram. These how many items you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This 6 item must be present at level 0. So it can be more but cannot be less than the 6. So if you look here, you can find these 6, but even you can find more than that 6. More is because we are explaining this level further. So explanation means more details are coming in, and when more details are coming in, then more entity will come in, more data names will come in. So the names of the data, the data stores, even the user may increase from previous level but cannot decrease. I prefer like this. You see, your question that can we break the login function into login and logout at level 0, as it can explain clearly in level 0. You see, actually it is not that much simple, because login means you must be registered first. So then where is the registration process? Okay, so actually login, I think it is composed of three processes: registration, login, and logout. So it means this one process of level 1, it can be decomposed further into three sub processes. This is why I want to bring this one to level 1. From level 0, I want to bring this one to level 1. In the same way, the show artifact is not that much simple. This information must be added first to the system. So who will add it? Okay, and once added, the information will be stored where, and then it will show to the user, and then the user can click. So it means it is not that much simple process. This is why I want to decompose this process also further. The purchasing is also not that much simple. There is a payment involved. So how to do that? So this is why I want to decompose this process also in a next level. The feedback, I think, is enough already, because in a feedback text come from the user. Okay, and it is saved in a database, and the user gets some feedback. So I think that it is enough. No need to decompose further. And I think that this 1, 2, and 3 can be decomposed. Why it can be decomposed? Because it is not clear at this level. So to clarify further, we need to explain more, and we can explain more processes if we decompose it into sub processes. Okay, so how to decompose it into sub processes? Let's go to level 1. I give the name as level 1.1 because I want to explain only the process number 1. Okay, process number 1. So process number 1 can be, which was actually login in the previous diagram. So login is only possible if the user registered first, and registration can be possible if a credential go from the user and the process will use this credential. The credential means username, password, email address, and blah 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 blah. Okay, and all these credentials will go from the process and will store permanently in a data store. Okay, and once this process complete, the user will get a registration confirmation message. Okay, your question is about naming a data store, that like in the context diagram D1 data store, which which means that the D1 store all the data, meaning to say that D1 is the representative of all the databases, but level 0 is only store some of the data, meaning to say like artifacts information. Actually not only artifacts information, level 0 it may store the user information also, the registration information, and then maybe the artifacts information. So basically you see here are two entities, one is user and one is artifact. So try to separate the data store accordingly, because you see what I mean by this, that use one data store for user and another data store for artifacts. Why? Because later on when you bring this concept to ERD, then you will have a separate entity. One entity will be user, another entity will be artifact. And if you mix this information of the artifacts with the user, then maybe it will be not clear in the ERD's process. So okay, it depends on you. If you want to give the context diagram data store a name as D0, you can. If you want to give a name in a context diagram also D1, and you bring the same D1 to level 0 also can. It's not a big deal. But in level 1, if you think that some new entity is included now, then to differentiate the two different entity from each other, you want to store their data into two different store, then it's a good strategy. But until now, you see I'm using D1 because only in my point of view, only one entity we are dealing with. Until now, we are dealing only with the user, and user is one entity. This is why I'm using D1 until now. Okay. If you can maintain and if you can clarify further, I think you can. There is no strict rules. You can. So let's continue. This is a level. I give the name level 1.1 diagram because I decompose the process 1 into 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Why it is 1.1? Because I decompose the process 1, the login. You see the process 1. This is why all the sub processes are children of 1. So 1.1 is a child of 1. 1.2 is also a child of 1. Oh, sorry, I didn't change this one. this one should be 1.3. Okay, 1.3. So this is also a child of 1. So this is why all these I give the naming 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Okay, now go ahead to the next process, and the next process I give a name 2.1 diagram. Actually it is from diagramming naming point of view, it is also the same level 1 diagram. Don't confuse in this. Okay, it is also a level 1 diagram. Still the same level 1 diagram is here also, because in level 1 diagram we are decomposing the same processes. Okay, so I just give a name 1.1 because I am explaining this. Okay, but better don't confuse in level 0 and level 1. It's still level 1 diagram. Okay, so level 1 diagram, and this time I am explaining the process number 2. Okay, yeah, one Ali, you are right that the data name should be nouns and the processes name should be verbs. Okay, this is why I tried to use verbs for the processes and nouns for the data, and noun for the entity also, for the data store also noun, because these are entities and the processes are uh, processes. Okay, these are functionality. So you see the display artifact, if you see here, it was simple here, this show artifact information, but how to show? It's not simply show. You see the staff admin, you see now I added a separate staff admin staff. These admin staff will insert or update the information of the artifact. Let's suppose a new artifact they got. Okay, and they will add the information. So insert the credential of the artifact. These information will come from the admin side to the process, and the process will store these information in the data store. This is why you see I give a name, different name now, D2, and to further clarify, I give the name artifacts information. It's not user information anymore. Okay, so save the artifacts credential here. So once all the artifacts information are stored in the database, so the database is now populated and the database has full information now, then it is capable of displaying information. So when the user click or request some information about the artifacts, these details will go, you see, request for information, maybe the information will come from the database to the process, and the process is showing to the user now. So you see, you cannot display information until you have the information. So the system will only have the information if the admin store it in the database. Okay, so one final thing, that may be some artifact lost or broken or outdated, whatever is the reason, but the admin staff want to delete some artifact. So you see the admin will do that only, to delete this artifact. So when the admin staff delete some artifact using the delete operation, then the database, this process will update the database, and that information will be deleted from the database also. So I think the showing artifacts information, according to my understanding, should be these three processes. Okay, this is why I give the name 2.1, 2.2 and 2.3. So if you think that there can be some other process also, you can include. It's up to you. Yes, Lee, very good question. That you see, that does it mean that in level 1 we can include other entities which is not shown in level 0? 100% true, because level 0 is not explained detail level. As you go to details and details, new entities, new data will be coming in and in, because you are further decomposing the system into sub processes. So if you are going into details, new entities will come in, you are right. New data store will come in, you are right. New data names will come in, you are right. Yes, this is a good question. Lee, your question about a separate process for update, from my point of view, actually, insert and update is almost like same thing. Why? Because ins, insert process insert process add a new process into the system, a new artifacts into the system. Meaning to say, it bring totally new information into the database. Update does what? Update just modify the existing thing. So this is why I just use the slash, that insert or update. Actually, the process is the same. This is why I didn't decompose into a separate process, because the process is the same. The admin will add some credential. It may be updated one, it may be new one, and then save the credential, and it will go to the system. So for my understanding, I prefer insert and update to show as one process. If you want to decompose further, you can. Actually, you can. You can, if you want to decompose, if you want to very clarify the process, that insert is a separate process and update is a separate process. Actually, you can. Okay, you should, but I was a bit worried about the complexity of the diagram, but it's a good process to separate. Okay, give a separate process. So let's continue the same level 1. Note the point, we are still at level 1 diagram. Okay, because level 1 means that we are just decomposing level 0. Okay, this is why we call this level 1 diagram. Okay, so we are still at level 1, but this time I am decomposing the process 3, and this is why I give the name uh, 3.1, 3.2 and 3.3. Okay, and that is what? That is about the souvenir. So you see, you can only see souvenir in the system if the admin staff add the souvenir. Okay, the souvenir information, the souvenir name, the souvenir picture, the souvenir price. Okay, everything the admin will first add the souvenir credential, and the system will save the credential in a database. So once all these information are available in the system, then the user can see. Okay, and once the user can see, then the user can request for purchase, and while purchasing, the user will select the quantity, how many you want. So from user, these information will come, and this information will be verified from a database. That, let's suppose the user want to buy, let's suppose 10 items. So the 10 items will be confirmed from database first, that do we have 10 items? If yes, then the information will come to the user. The information may be confirmation of the 10 quantities, let's suppose, or if let's suppose 10 quantities are not available and let's suppose we have six items only, then the six item information will come to the user, and then the user will if the user want to buy the six, then we'll modify the information, and these information will send back to the process and then verified, and then the purchase process will, if this okay, the quantity and the available, the requested quantity and the available quantity are okay, then the payment process will start. And once the payment process start, the user will click the pay procedure, and once everything go well, okay, the payment details will when this process done, then the payment details will be also stored, and I give that a different data store name as a sales, because this is a sale information. Sale information should not be mixed with souvenir information. This is why I give a separate data store name. Okay, so this sale information, once stored successfully, everything done, then the user will get the receipt and the information. Okay, so in this way the purchasing of souvenir process works. Okay, the question that for the payment function, should we include bank as entity? From my understanding, my point of view, I think no. Why? Because why we should store the bank information? We no need to store the bank information, because if you add as an entity, it means it will be a table later on in the database, and that table will store all the information about the bank. I think in the payment process, we should just provide the connectivity to the bank, which is a special API that the apps connect to the payment procedure, and it will redirect only to the bank page. We no need to store in the database the bank information. I don't think so that we need it. Okay, what we need to provide the payment connection, meaning to say that there should be a payment procedure that the user click the payment or the pay button, and then the system will redirect the user to the payment process, and once that done, it will come back to the system. Like in online purchasing system, we can see as a common uh, process. Okay, so let's go to the next level. We are still at level 1 diagram, okay, because we are just one level further. Okay, this is why it is the level 1 diagram. Okay, next. Oh, I finished this one because you see, I don't want to further decompose. You see this one, the feedback, because I think the feedback process is quite clear. From my understanding, I don't want to decompose it further. If any one of you want to decompose it further, so you can decompose exactly like we did this one 1.1. So you can do 4.1, 4.2 if you want to decompose. But I don't want to decompose. Okay, so this is level 1. Level 2 will be level 2 will be if any one of the process in level 1 is not clear. Like for example, if you see registration is not clear, then you can bring this one to level 2, and level 2 will be 1.1.1 and 1.1.2. So you will decompose this one into further detail. it is not clear. But in my case, in this particular example, registration is clear, login is clear, logout is clear. So I don't want to bring this diagram to level 2. Okay, so this is why I don't have any level 2 level diagram for this. Even for this one, in my understanding, the insert update is clear, display is clear, deletion is clear. This is why I don't want to bring this one for level 2. Okay, if any one of the process in your case is not clear, then you can decompose this into further sub processes and you will give the name 2.1.1. That will be your level 2 diagram. Okay, because you see you went from this one is the 0 level diagram, this one is the level 1, this one will be the level 2. Okay, so 2.1.2 and so on. In this way, if any one of these you want to further decompose, but in my case I am repeating again that insert update is clear, display is clear, delete is clear, so I don't want to bring this diagram also to level 2. Okay, so then this one again, in my case, the insert update of souvenir, the sales of souvenir, and payment of souvenir, I think it is clear. This is why I'm not bringing to level 2 diagram. If any one of the process you want, then that can be further decomposed into sub processes, then you go ahead and further decompose. You see, it will be also a mistake that if some process is not clear and you are not going to level 2. This is also, and I think it will be also unnecessary if something is already clear and you are just bringing to level 2. So it means that actually the level 0, 1 and 2, it is not necessary that every system will must go until level 2. No, actually the, the system will stop at a level where it is clear. If any process is clear at level 0, stop it there. If some process become clear at level 1, stop here. If some process become clear at level 2, then stop here. Even if some process is so much complicated, you can even go to level 3. Okay, so it depends on the clarity when when the process become clear. So at the point where the process become clear, stop there. Okay, so I stop here. So in my case, all the processes are clear now. So then I can bring now the DFD, the processes, the entities now into ERD diagram. So in my case, in this particular case that I am dealing with, these are the main entities. I have the main entity user, the main entity souvenir, and another entity artifact. These are the three primary entities. Here in the user, I am combining all type of user. Okay, some people prefer to create different table for visitor and different table for staff. No, from my point of view, staff is also a user, visitor is also a user. So I'm just differentiating by role. The role means you are admin, okay, or you are visitor. That's all. The rest, every user have the same information. So why I should store two separate tables? This is why I'm combining into one user table. Okay, so this, you see, many user can buy many souvenir. So basically this is many to many link. So this is why I decompose the many to many into one to many. You see, this is why I brought an order table in the middle. So you see, one user can have many order, and one order may have many souvenirs. Okay, so this one, and the artifacts are linked with the user. In this case, that I want to store the history of the visit history of every user. So the ID comes from the user, this one. Okay, uh, here also maybe you can put another ID also if you want. Yeah, I think should be. Okay, yeah, should be that a user ID and souvenir ID. Or maybe if you want that username and quality and date is already there, no need of ID. Yeah, still okay. I think user souvenir details are already there, no need to add. Okay, so we are talking about visitor history. So this history is about who? About this user. You see the ID is there. So this user visited requested for what artifacts. So the artifacts, what time, what date this user visited, and this user gives some feedback or not. So in a history, I want to store this type of information. So one visitor may have several history, depends on the time. Okay, and one history may store information about several artifacts. Okay, so this is why one to many. Okay, like this. So these are the, yeah, these are the ERD. I think now, so in my case, I think this schema, if we design the database in this way, we can store all the necessary information, and later on we can generate all the reports from this database that we want. Okay. In your case, in a particular other case that you are dealing with, it may change accordingly. Recording also. Your question that we should include a database for purchase history, then we should create another entity. You see, actually it is there. Okay, if you see here, I have added as an entity here sales detail. Okay, so sales detail is actually a purchase history. This sale purchase is same thing. I have used the word sale. If you want to use a sale purchase or something, so actually this means that this table is storing all the information about sale process. And this is why when I went to ERD, so this process, this table I showed here as a visitor history. There may be a bit difference in the naming. Okay,